This tower cost $1.5 billion to build, enough to build an entire city. And the crazy part is, Dubai didn't actually need it. So why build the tallest building on Earth? We're driving through the heart of Dubai. Luxury cars, glass facades, everything bigger, more expensive, unreal. And then it happens. The road curves. You look up, and suddenly, everything around you feels small. The Burj Khalifa. 828 meters of glass, steel, and pure ambition. But here's what most people don't realize. This tower is more than just a building. It's a story. A story you can take apart, layer by layer, because when you break this tower down, from the very top all the way into the ground, you start to see what it really is. Not just the tallest building in the world, but the solution to a problem Dubai never wanted to show. Imagine starting at the very top, 828 meters above the ground. The tip of the Burj Khalifa looks almost fragile, like a needle made of glass and steel. From up here, everything feels stable, perfect. But this is exactly where the real problem begins. Because the higher you go, the stronger an invisible force becomes. Wind. At this height, air doesn't move smoothly. It swirls, builds pressure, and can make entire buildings sway. A rigid tower of this height would eventually destroy itself. Not immediately, but over time. So the engineers made a decision. They didn't fight the wind, they used it. The shape of the Burj Khalifa is no coincidence. Every edge, every setback, every shift changes how the wind interacts with the tower. There is no uniform surface, no stable point for resonance to build up. And that's what keeps the tower stable. Because the tower moves. At the very top, it can sway by more than half a meter in strong winds. And that's exactly what saves it. Not rigidity, but controlled movement. That's the first layer. But as we move further down, the challenge becomes more complex. At around 600 meters, a new challenge begins. Concrete. How do you get concrete up that high without everything failing? A small mistake in the mix, a slight temperature change, and the entire system could collapse. Because concrete reacts to heat, pressure, and time. And in Dubai, heat is extreme. Daytime temperatures rise above 45 degrees Celsius, too hot for precise construction. So the engineers changed the entire process. Much of the work was done at night, when conditions were more controllable. But even then, one problem remained: the height. Pumping concrete upward doesn't work indefinitely. With every meter, pressure increases. With every minute, the material changes. So the engineers tested countless mixtures until they found one that remained stable. And then came the breakthrough. The first successful pump over more than 600 meters, a world record. And for the first time, the scale of this project became clear. Over 22 million working hours. More than 10,000 years of human labor compressed into a single structure. But as we move further down, it becomes clear. None of this would have mattered if the foundation had failed. Because stability doesn't start at the top, it starts in the ground. Everything depends on the ground, and this is where the biggest risk was. The Burj Khalifa doesn't stand on solid rock, it stands on sand. Fine desert sand, mixed with porous rock and salt water beneath the surface. A foundation that can shift under pressure. And suddenly, you understand what was really at stake. This tower weighs over 500,000 tons, a constant force pushing downward. Millimeters at the base become centimeters at the top. So the project needed a solution. 192 concrete piles, driven more than 50 meters into the ground. An invisible network beneath the surface. That's what supports the tower. But even that wasn't the biggest threat. Because beneath Dubai, there's something you can't see. Saltwater. It slowly attacks concrete and steel, relentless, unstoppable, over years. So the engineers developed a special concrete mix, stronger, more resistant, built to last for decades. And then came the critical moment, the measurements, the result. The foundation held, no dangerous shifts, no instability. The tower had its base. But this is where engineering alone is no longer the main challenge, because above the surface, something else begins. The Burj Khalifa is not a static building. It's a system that has to work every single day. Over 100 elevators, high-speed lifts moving people in seconds, a complex cooling system, because at temperatures above 40 degrees, the building would be unusable without it. Every day, thousands of liters of water are needed, for people, for machines, for operation. And all of this runs at the same time, non-stop. The tower only works as long as this system stays stable. If one part fails, everything comes under pressure. And that reveals what this building really is. Not a structure, but a machine. A machine that constantly consumes energy just to exist. And that leads to a bigger question. Why was something like this built at all? The Burj Khalifa wasn't built because Dubai needed it. It was built because Dubai needed to be seen. Because before this tower existed, the city had a problem. It depended on oil, and that oil wouldn't last forever. So Dubai needed something else. Attention. Tourism, a new identity. And that's exactly what this tower became. Not just a building, but a statement. The tallest structure in the world. A place everyone knows. A place everyone wants to see. And it worked. Millions of visitors every year. Luxury apartments, hotels, restaurants, all inside a single building. But behind that image, there's another reality. Because this tower only works when everything runs perfectly. A delicate balance of technology, energy, and resources. And that leads to one final question. What happens when this system becomes too expensive? What happens when the cost of keeping it alive becomes higher than its value? And when you put all these layers back together, from the top, through the structure, down into the foundation, you start to see what this tower really is. Not a miracle, but a system. Built to create attention. Built to solve a problem. And maybe that's the real story. Not how tall it is, but why it had to be built in the first place. Inside, it becomes a palace. Armani Hotel. Highest pool. Highest mosque. Opening night.